Hello and welcome to another video from Berkshire Guitar Amplifier Repairs. On the bench today we have this very nice Fender Princeton, lovely little amp. The fault on this amp, the customer says it gave an occasional crackle, and then the crackling will get louder and then it would build up to a horrible crescendo of crackling, meaning that he would then turn the amp off, only to be repeated next time he turned it on, although sometimes it will go for quite a long time without any crackling. However, last time he tried this, the crackling built up to a crescendo as normal and then the amp went completely dead, and he said the fuse was blown. So let's turn it on and see if we can see if the fuse is gone or what's going on with this amp. Okay, I've got power going to the amp. Let's see what happens. Oh, I think the on-off switch is on the back somewhere. Let's have a look. Where is it? Oh yes, here. It's on already. Okay. And there is no lamp at all there, so the amp is completely dead at the moment. The fuse is here, so let's just take that out and have a look. I'll just go and get my meter and see if that fuse is gone. It looks good to me. Yes, just check that on the meter and that fuse is good. I'm not liking the look of this. A completely dead amplifier and the fuse is intact. Ugh, what am I thinking? Mains transformer? I don't know. Let's take the chassis out and see what we can see going on inside. It's possible there's another fuse, but I very much doubt it, particularly in the mains. Okay, I've set this up on the overhead, and we will do a little bit of basic diagnosis here by turning the meter to continuity to give a beep, and let's see what's happening on the mains input. So I'm going to go on the live. That goes to the fuse. Yep, that's okay on that side of the fuse, and okay on that side of the fuse, so the fuse is working. It then goes off to the main switch. It goes this black wire here. I've got the switch on at the moment, so it goes to there, and yeah, just about get on there. So the main switch has continuity as well. Then the black lead comes over here to the board, and I immediately notice this inrush limiter thermistor here. Now these quite often go, so my guess is that this thermistor has gone, which is good news because that's open circuit and has protected the mains transformer. Why it's gone, we don't know, because we don't know what this crackling's all about at this stage. That's something we're going to have to investigate. Let's have a little general look around the amp. I mean, it's fairly new looking. It's obviously a Princeton recent edition. Nothing like an original. Nothing I can see obviously here. No. Okay, now what's involved in getting to the underside of here? Unfortunately, it's not particularly easy. These will all unplug, so that frees up this side of the board. Although we've got these wires here, so I'm probably going to have to take that pot out. These have a cable clip on. I think we'll get a little bit of play on there as we rotate the board this way. So the idea is to rotate the board this way. You can't possibly do it this way because of all these connections to the preamp valves here, all glued in. Nightmare. So our only hope is to tilt the board up this way to get access to this inrush limiter here. Okay, well, I think that's what we've got to do, so let's get on with it. Okay, I was about to take the board out when I noticed that I could actually see the connections on this inrush limiter and get to them. And so now I'm afraid I'm not so sure, because follow me through. I'm on the live here. We know it goes through the fuse and through the switch and back to the board, and it comes to the board here. This is glued down, but fortunately not very well. I can just about get onto the terminal here. There. So we know it's getting to that black wire coming into the board. Now I can get onto this inrush limiter here. And we have a connection there, and on the other side of the inrush limiter, oh dear, that's good too. So it's not an open circuit inrush limiter. So I'm not feeling terribly happy now. I'm wondering if the mains transformer has gone. Okay, let's have a little think about that. I'd quite like to know where the pilot light's sitting in this scenario. And of course I haven't actually checked the pilot light is working, so that's another thing to do. Why don't we just do that live? I'll put some power in. We're switched on, and well, let's just see if we've got any HT or anything here. You know, I'm just assuming the pilot light's dead, although I know it almost certainly isn't. So what have we got here? No, there's nothing on the, nothing sensible on the HT, so that's not working. Let's go AC and see if we've got, we should have live on here. It's quite hard to get onto this side of the inrush limiter. There we go. Yeah, we've got mains on that side of the inrush limiter. Have we got it on this side? Unfortunately we do, and that's the side that goes off to the mains transformer. I've got a horrible feeling here that we may have lost the mains transformer on this amp. Well, let's see what we can do to prove one way or t'other. I think this cable tie is going to have to go so that we can see what's going on here. Right, this is probably the primary side here. Not quite sure why there are 3 wires, and this is definitely the secondary side here with all the secondary cables coming out. Unfortunately not particularly easy to get onto the terminals here whilst it's connected. Okay, I found I can just get the probes in to where these spade connectors meet the board, and here we go. It's not easy, but I can just about get in there. And there we go, we've got mains voltage there. I'm not quite sure what this white stripe black is, but anyway, we seem to have mains voltage there. So my view is that mains voltage is getting into the primary, and well, here's the rectifier diode here. So for example, we should have 5 volts AC coming out here for the rectifier diode heater. Nothing. And well, we know there won't be any HT, which will be here, AC or DC. I mean, the amp's completely dead. There's no valves lighting up or anything. Right, so the next thing to do is to pull these connectors here and get a meter on the primary and see if that's open circuit or not. And the first thing I'm going to do is just to note down where these terminals are. So I'm going to put the inrush limiter there, thermistor, and I'm just going to mark this black, white, and joggled in a bit white, striped black. Just to remind me. You think you'll remember, but you won't, so always make a note. Now I can take the mains out. I'm just going to pull these terminals here, and to do that, grab hold of a pair of pliers, give them a sharp tug. There we go. Now, as I say, I don't know why why we have this white stripe black. No idea what that is. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm going to start measuring to see if we have any resistance on this primary winding. I would imagine white and black will almost certainly be the primary. So we'll plug that in there. Absolutely nothing. Completely open circuit primary on the mains transformer. That's bad news. So we're going to have to try and get a mains transformer for this, and I'm going to have to stop this video, have a word with the customer, and of course we still don't know why this has gone. Was the crackling some arcing within the mains transformer here? You know, was that what he was hearing? And then the mains transformer failed, or have we got another problem which drew a load of current and took the mains transformer out? It shouldn't, of course. We have a fuse in circuit here, Don't know why the fuse didn't go. The other thing I'm going to do is a quick Google search on mains transformer failure, Fender Princeton, to see if it's an epidemic problem. It looks very skinny to me, this transformer, doesn't it to you? That's such a little thing to do all the heaters and the HT and all these valves. I mean, this is absolutely tiny. Anyway, at the moment I don't know, and I will report back to you. Greetings again. It's been about 3 weeks since I last spoke to you on this amplifier, and look what I got in the post today. It's supposed to be a replacement mains transformer. Now that's going to be very useful, that little diagram there, so I'm going to make sure I don't destroy that, because I bet you anything you like that the colours on this are not the same as the colours on the existing one. Quite expensive, this transformer. It's over £100. There we go. Okay, might be in luck here. Oh, I don't know, there's a lot of wires there. Crikey. Right, well, there's a lot to choose from there. I think I'll just wire them up randomly and see what happens. That'll probably be easiest. What can go wrong, really? Ugh. Right, so first of all, is it vaguely the right size? That's always a bonus. I can immediately see it's taller, which I'm happy about because that means it's a better transformer. And yep, that looks like that's going to fit there okay. It's a lot taller that way than this one is, so that's a more decent transformer. I can't remember what we've got underneath here. It's been a few weeks. Let's have a quick reminder. Right, what we've got? Well, we've got nothing like the number of windings we've got here. We've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 wires coming out of the existing one, and 147 coming out of this one. 2, 4, 6, 8. Oh dear. 10, 12, 14, 16 wires, so we've got quite a few more. Right, so we're going to have a little look at what is going on here. A lot of these, of course, will be tappings for the primary, which we don't need. But as I mentioned last time, I looked at this amp. I'm not entirely sure what this... what's I was worried about? Oh yes, this white striped black there. I wasn't really quite sure what that was going onto the board here. Might have to get the schematic up if I can for this and see what that's supposed to be. Can't really think why we'd have 3 wires on the primary. 2 of course, but why 3? Jury's out at the moment. And anyway, what have we got here? We've got... I'm sure you're dying to see what this is all about, but you can hardly wait. Right, so as expected, we've got loads of tappings on the primary, so that in any of those we're probably going to need to link that 0 volts to that 120, so we need to link brown to black, and that will give us a primary of, and then we go between white and blue, and that will give us a primary of 240. So here we go on the primary side. I mean, we do have a white, we do have a blue, we do have a brown, and we do have a black, all coming out of different holes. What else do we have on the primary? A white striped black. Yep, we've got a white striped black there. Looking a bit more promising maybe. Just a bit weird that the primary wires come out and the secondary wires come out of both holes. And a white striped black and a blue striped yellow. There we go. So we've got, that's all the primary side. I'm just going to get a bit of tape and put a bit of tape around those. Right, so this is the, looks like primary windings. Let's have a little play here for the moment. And now on the secondary side we show 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 we have. Good. Well, let's see if we've got them all. We should have a plain red. And another red. So this is the HT look. That's what I'd expect the HT to be. 2 reds. Right, a red striped white. Yes, we've got a red striped white. 2 red striped whites. That's the. Oh, okay. This gives out high voltage at 325 or 275, whichever you like, for different amplifiers. This is a multi-use transformer, obviously, so we'll only need one set of those HT windings. We've got 2 HT windings there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, a red striped yellow. Yes, a red striped yellow. Good. Okay, now what we've got, this is the 6.3 volts look. Green, green, yellow and green. There we go, that's the heaters. And these will be the 5 volt heaters. Okay, well, I think we've got everything we want there. There's the secondary side. Bit odd they come out of holes like that, but there you go. I think probably okay. There we go. Right, now I think before I do anything very much, I'm going to see if I can work out why this has 3 primary windings. I'd expect white and black to be the 240 volts. So what is this white stripe black? Let me see if I've got some kind of a diagram for this. Well, fortunately I did have the schematic for this Fender Princeton Reverb Reissue, which of course is what this is. No point in looking at the original diagrams. And it shows black going to P7, which is what I've got, white going to P8, which is what I've got, and white stripe black going to P17, which is labelled unused stake holder. Unused stake wire holder, actually. No idea what that means, but my guess is that that's not used, that terminal, and it's just a parking place for this winding here. So I'm just going to go in on here and here and hope for the best. So our wiring is actually fairly simple. We need to find out what the HT is, whether it's whether we want 275 volts or 325 volts, and then there's the 5 volt heaters look. That's quite easy, and there's the ordinary heater wires for the rest of the valves, and that's the center tap of the HT. So it's actually fairly straightforward to wire. So now let me now check whether this is 325 or 275 volts on the output. Right, I've checked the schematic, and although it doesn't actually say what the HT AC voltage should be out of this transformer, it does give the DC voltage, which is about 445 volts. So on that basis I'm going for the higher voltage winding, the 325, which are the 2 reds, which kind of makes sense anyway. So the next thing to do is to get this transformer out, make a note of where all these go, and then put a new transformer in, then we can start sorting out the leads. I've made a note now of all the secondary and primary leads and where they go. I've taken a couple of photos too. Now we can make a start at removing these. So I think the first thing to do is just to pull off all these connectors. Just a quick sharp pull with a pair of pliers normally does it. These can come off. There we go. And I'm just going to cut these off here, and that will remind me where they go, those 2 red ones. I've made a note anyway, but that's a good technique. If you need to remove a transformer, just leave a little bit of the lead hanging there. Right, that's the primary side and everything taken off. I'm now going to find myself a nut spinner to remove these. Right, I've got the right nut spinner here. Makes life easier having one of these. Just get myself a little collection pot. I've changed a lot of transformers in my time, and it's always good to be very careful about which leads go where. This is coming out quite nicely actually. Just checking, yeah, you see the primary leads come out of this hole here and the secondary leads come out of this hole here. Bit weird on that new one that they don't come out of those corresponding holes, but oh well. I think we'll be okay. Might be a big bang when we turn it on. Right, just going to support the transformer now since this is the last nut. There we go. Take that out, good. And that's the old transformer. There. Look at the thickness of the new one compared with the old. Quite a big difference, isn't there? So hopefully this new one will go in. I don't think it actually really matters which way around we put it in terms of we've got so much acreage of lead here. Does it fit? It fits. Miracle. That's fine. Slightly awkwardly placed, that one. Right, there we go. Tighten those up, good. Well, that went in stupidly easily. Right then, let's make a start and I'll show you how I sort out these leads. People do it different ways, I've got my own way, but let me show you what I do. Right, follow me through if you're interested, if not, fast forward a bit. I'm going to be linking the brown to the black first of all, and then I'm going to be capping off the blue, yellow and the white black, leaving just the blue and the white. So here's the brown, let me see, brown and black we want, so there's brown and there's black, so we want to join those two together. Chopping those off. I can tidy this all up with cable ties and stuff later, so it'll be a bit of a dog's dinner to start with. Strip that back, strip that back. Wind them together. Bit of insulating tape around there and that's job done. No, 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 no. Ignore that. Right, solder those so they're now joined. I'm always very careful to double check what I'm doing, so I join the brown to the black. So brown to black. Correct. Now I think I should be able to do that with a bit of heat shrink sleeving. Let's see if that will work. Yeah, that'll go over there like that, and then we can just heat that up with a heat gun. That's good. Right, now whilst we're here we want to lose the blue, yellow and the white, black. There's the white, black, and there's the blue, yellow. We don't want those. So again, I'm just going to cap those off, and the way to do that is don't just chop them off like that and then put some sleeving around, because that could possibly connect to there. So let's chop that one off there, look, and let's chop this one off just a little bit longer, you see. Now again we can put some sleeving over there and they can't possibly touch each other or anything else. Good. So now that just leaves blue and white, is that correct? Blue, yes, and white, yes, that's correct. These are our primaries, and they're going to go to here, so I'll chop those off at about the right length. So what I'm going to do is just to cannibalize the crimps from the other white black and attach them onto here with some sleeving, and that'll be job done for that. So I'll do that, then I'll come back and report to you. There we go, I've done that, made off those two ends. So that's the primary side done. Why don't we just plug that in so that we know we've done it, and we don't need to worry about that one, I hope. As I say, we'll tidy all this up later, so don't worry about any of that. Okay, let's have a look at the secondary side now, and let's make our life easy just by taking out, well, we can take off this piece of tape now because we no longer need to identify the bundle. Let's do our yellows. So they need to go over to here. Yellow and yellow went to P1 and P2, and they are here, P1, P2. So we want them, you know, kind of that kind of length. And again, I'm going to do the same trick of reusing the crimps. So there's two yellows there. And I'm going to cut off the two yellows off my old transformer. There they are there. And again, I'm going to join those onto there, and that's our yellows done. So I'll do that. Okay, there are the yellows done there. So we can plug those in to P1 and P2. I'll be checking all this again thoroughly before I turn on the amp. P1 and P2. What should we do next? Let's do the ordinary green heaters, which are these two here. I notice the heaters have a center tap on here. I probably will take that to ground, the green yellow. Anyway, so again, where are we? Green, green, green is P9 and P10, which is these two here. So we want this kind of length on them. And once again, I'm going to steal the two greens from the original transformer. There they are. And we'll stick those on there, and I'll rejoin you when I've done that. There we go, there's the greens done. Quick word about the heater side. There are two ways of doing what's called hum balance on heaters. One is to take a center tap from the heater, so 6.3 volts, 6.3, well 6.3 volts middle and 6.3 volts, and ground that. The other way is to create a kind of artificial ground by 200 ohm resistors, and I see that's exactly what they've done. Fender has done on this. There are the 200 ohm resistors there. So because I don't want to be chopping these out and whatever, I'm just going to leave well enough alone. The original transformer just had these windings and that hum balance arrangement there. So I'm going to P9 and P10. I'm going to put those back pretty much exactly as they were. And we now no longer need this center tap on this green striped yellow, so we can chop that off. Always leave it there just in case someone wants to come along, and you don't want to be chopping off down here somewhere. Someone might want to come along and do something with that at a later stage. I doubt it, but it's just good practice. Now I'm just going to put a bit of heat shrink on there. There we go, and eventually that'll get cable clipped along with the other cables we don't need. Good. Right, now on the HT side, we want 375, 0, 375. So we want the two reds, those two, and they're going to go to our rectifier valve there. Now sort of chop them off at a sensible length now. And we're going to want the red striped yellow as the centre tap. And that goes off to P11 on the board, which is here. So again, I'll do that by connecting on our red stripe yellow from before. So I think I'm going to do this first, then we will do the two reds onto there, and then we'll make off these because we don't need them. There's the red stripe yellow all done. That can go on to P11. There, good. Now why don't we just get rid of these whilst we're in the mood. Two red striped whites, these are the low voltage, well low, these 275 volt windings that we don't need. So I'll make that one a little bit shorter look. Heat shrink over the two. Shrink that down. I've had this Steinel heat shrink gun for 35 years, if not 40. An amazing piece of kit, it's just never gone wrong. Right, so that's all ready now to be cable clipped out the way. We've just got our two reds here, and they are going to go where we chopped off the two reds here. So let's strip those off. Twist them. Tin. It's not a particularly easy job, this, is it? You know, it's you have to keep your wits about you. Make sure you're following the wiring diagram exactly. Okay, so now we're in a position to solder these to here to here. I'm going to do that with the camera off. I'm going to need to get my head in there to have a look, but you don't need to see me soldering that to that. I will do that and then report back. Okay, there you go. I soldered those two onto there. So let's do a double check now. Make sure, I'm pretty confident actually. Let's make sure we're okay. So on the HT side, look, we've got the red and red going to the anode of the diodes on the rectifiers. That's the anode, that's the anode. 1, 2, and the middle, which is red striped yellow, goes to P11. That does go to P11. The greens go to P9 and 10. P9 and 10, correct. The yellows go to P1. This is the 5 volt winding for the rectifier valve. Goes to P1 and P2. And you can see, look, they come out here, the 5 volts for the rectifier valve. Okay, I'm not going to bother tidying that up now. I'm fairly happy with that. What I want to do now is to bring the amp up slowly on the variac, monitoring some HT, and see what, if anything, happens to this amp. So let's do that. Alrighty, you're seeing this as I'm seeing it. I haven't done any pre-testing. I think I need a slurp of tea to before I try this. Let's have a go. Oh yeah. So I've got the meter connected to one of the HT caps just to see if we get any HT. Because this is a rectifier valve, it's going to take quite a long time before we get any HT, because the valve needs to be warm. So I'm just going to turn up the variac to about 120 volts. The amp is on and the light is the light on? Yes, I've got a little bit of glow there. I've got a speaker and a guitar connected just in case we get lucky and it all bursts into life. Of course, we don't know why the mains transformer failed, so we have a bit of a question mark over over this amp. So we're at 110 volts there, no HT at the moment. Oh, there's a little something creeping up, look, that's good, that's looking very promising. That's looking excellent. Don't forget we're at half voltage now, so the heaters to the rectifier valve have only got half volts. Good, I feel confident to come up a little bit more on the mains. Can't hear anything out of the speaker, which is a little concerning. Oh yes, oh, we've got a signal there and a nice tremolo too. Let's turn the tremolo down. Okay, we're at about 160 volts on the variac. We've got 300 volts of AC, of DC, and we've got a signal. Wow, how awesome is that? I'm just going to leave it there for a little while because, as I say, we don't know why this amp actually took out the mains transformer. What I'm going to do before I do anything else, I'm going to turn this back down again. I'm very pleased with that, by the way. I'm going to turn this down again, and I think I want to get a couple of bias meters on the output valves just to see what they're doing as we bring this amp up into service. I always like to see what the current is in the output valve, so let's do that. You know what, I'm quite pleased I decided to do that. Flipped it up the other way, and let me show you. There's one 6v6 valve, kind of looks okay, and here's the other one. Very difficult to get in here. Well, there is a massive difference between those two. In fact, I'm not wildly happy to put this one back in. This has obviously got very hot. So I'm going to get a new pair of 6v6s. I'm going to put 2 bias meters on there. I want to see what's going on with this amp as it warms up. Alright, moment of truth. 2 bias meters, 2 new JJ 6v6s. Wind up the variac to 150 volts. 170 volts. HT's coming up, look. Valves are drawing current. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. They're coming up evenly. I'm not worried about anything that I see there. We'll worry about the exact bias in a moment. So that's all looking good too. The HT's low because we've got the variac down. Let's bring it up to full power. So there we go. Working fine. A little bit of a mismatch in the bias current there, not overly worried about that at the moment. Let's see now what the correct bias current should be for a pair of 6v6s at a 420 plate voltage. So I go onto my handy little Weber bias calculator, which is a great little tool, and all we do, look, is pick the valve. So in this case we're going to pick 6v6, and then we're going to pick the plate voltage, which is 400 and call it 420. It's not super critical. Calculate bias, and up comes 20 milliamps. So we're not far off here at all, actually. They're not fantastically matched, but I'm not overly worried about that. 3 or 4 milliamps difference. So they're good to go. So I'll show you something. It may or may not work. See, this one's, where are we now? Yes, the right one's at 24 milliamps, say, and the left one at 19 milliamps. I'm just going to turn off. So that was the high one, this was the low one. Sometimes when you just literally swap the valves, it's a bit of an odd one, this, but this may not work. But I have known it work. There we go. Now let's bring it up again. This was the high one, that was the low one, if you remember. You see, isn't that weird? They are now pretty evenly matched. I've known that happen many times before. Good little trick that. And it's spot on, 20 milliamps. I haven't even biased this amp, so that's absolutely perfect. Good, well, I'm actually really pleased about that. What we'll do now is put the valves back in without the meters, flip it over on its other side and tidy up that wiring on the mains transformer side, and we are good to go with this amp, which is awesome. I'm really delighted. It's always a bit kind of worrying when you change a mains transformer. Have you got it right? Are the windings in the right position? Is it the right transformer? All that business. So anyway, let's just flip this over on the other side. So this is the fun bit. We're just going to tidy up some of this wiring. Should we do... Right, what have we got here? So I'm just going to get rid of all these, particularly the ones we didn't use. Just cable tie them out of the way. And what have we got here? May as well put one round there as well. In fact, I'll put one round there, and that will pull it down to here as well. Just to get that a little bit neater look. Don't think we need to do too much more than that, really. No, I'm happy with that. Okay, we can pop that back in the case. It's a little bit proud there, you know, on the level of the case, but I think that'll be alright. Good. We'll pop that back in the chassis, and pop the chassis back in the case, and we're good to go. Well, I wouldn't rank that as an easy fix. The crackling was obviously caused by the mains transformer arcing inside, and we had to swap the mains transformer. Anyway, I think you'll agree it went in fairly straightforwardly. The key to that sort of repair is methodical. You must be methodical. Make a note of every single connection. Double, triple check all your connections before you turn it on. And 99 times out of 100 it'll come good. I've never had one go wrong yet, but that really is because I'm very careful in terms of paying attention to where things go. So I'm very happy. A bit of a big bill for the customer, I'm afraid. The transformer was well over £100 alone, and then of course we had to put 2 new tubes in, so I'm afraid the bill mounted up a little bit. Anyway, it's a lovely little amp this. Even the reissue version of it is nice. I'm quite fond of this amp, so it was worth getting it going again, I think. And the new mains transformer is altogether more meatier than the old one, so I don't think you'll have the same problem again. Okay, well, once again, as ever, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.